on-air sports marketing. If you're talking to Rock and Manooch on Fox Sports 910, you're on the right Toyota phone line. Check it out for yourself at righttoyota.com. The right price, the right selection. Right Toyota.
All right, let's get to it. Second hour of the program. Scott Spicer coming up here at bottom of the hour. Mike Adris a little bit later. Well, he served under former ASU AD Kevin White back in Notre Dame, went on to the University of Delaware, then Georgetown. But since 2012, he's been the athletic director at Stanford. But what's most impressive on his resume has got to be his time in Athens, Ohio, as my classmate at the Ohio University Sports Ad Program. Director of Athletics, Bernard Muir, now joining us here on Fox Sports 910. Bernard, what's up, buddy? How are you?
Hey, Rock. How are you, man? It is good to hear my classmate's voice. Oh, my God. And good to be in your area.
Well, we're glad to have you here. And I got to tell you, a lot of challenging times for administrators in college athletics these days. And here you are. You've had to navigate Stanford through some interesting times as of late, going now to the ACC. And did you ever, years ago, I know not sitting in Doc Higgins' class or anything, thinking that this is where college athletics was going, but it is so much different than it's ever been, and it keeps changing day after day.
Yeah, they didn't teach us that in, College Athletics 101.
Yeah.
On the fly, and it has been interesting times to say the least, but yet still I'm still excited about young people getting a chance to play the games and do their craft that they love, and we're trying to find a way in which to do that. But there's no question, no shortage of issues that we're trying to wrestle with, but yet still excited about people putting on the uniform, and obviously this weekend getting to see them compete at a high level. Both the men's and the women's tournament has been phenomenal. And so I can't wait to see what unfolds here in the next couple of days.
Bernard, talk about the student athlete today when you first started. I mean, how much change, if any, is there with these young men? I mean, they seemed that there's a lot more on their plate. They're a little more enabled, all the above. But is there that guideline or standard at Stanford that you hope that these young student athletes, men and women, follow, or do the coaches have to adjust to them?
I think there's a little bit of both. I mean, certainly, the pressures that they're under and what they're going through, the social media pressure, the people, the interest in the game. I don't remember that when we were in school, where you play a game and then all of a sudden you could go on your phone and see if people are criticizing you or praising you for what you're done. So that's a whole other thing. The mental health aspect of what our student athletes are dealing with, that's heightened, no question. But at the end of the day, they do love their craft. They do love to play these games, and so we got an education. But yeah, there's now NIL. There's now this thing, transfer portal. So and they're
he's there. He's just cutting in and out.
And that is unique. That is different.
Bernard Muir joining us here, a Stanford athletic director. Like most of the Pac-12, schools are moving on. Stanford, along with Cal, heading to the ACC. Was it always Cal coming with Stanford? Were you guys always in line for this to happen?
Well, first, let me say, I mean, our druthers were to keep the conference intact.
Sure,
It's been around for 108 years. And so we were hoping that somehow, some way we could do that. We knew we had a couple schools that were going to leave. But, boy, if we could have kept everybody else intact, that would be great. The world obviously changed again. And so as we were looking, Cal and Stanford, we got a great rivalry, but we got a great history together. And we were trying to literally scramble, trying to find homes for each other. And so it did work out. We're thrilled to be ACC members or soon to be ACC members. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of travel involved, quite a bit of travel involved. But we get to compete at a high level, and that's what was so important. Our student athletes, we heard from them during this transition, and it was great that the two of us at least could stay together and find a home and be able to continue to do what we've always wanted to do, and that's compete on a national stage.
Bernard, it's been published that you had to sacrifice some media rights, earnings, all that travel, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Where do you find those resources? I mean, I saw what you guys started with the NIL. I thought that was pretty cool with the Lifetime Cardinal. I thought that was brilliant. I think a lot of schools are going to probably follow suit on that. But Where does the money come from at this point?
Well, I'm going to hit up friends and former classmates to help put money in the kitty.
You got
that's
it.
coming. I know the check is in the mail.
Definitely.
But no, in all seriousness, we're looking at all forms of potential income. Obviously, we're getting support from university, which is helpful because it's part of the core mission to the university, and they're going to assist us there. We're going to raise money, and we're going to look to our friends and alums and ask them for help, and they've been great in putting us in a position to offer as many sports as we do. We're going to continue to do that. And then also we're going to look at our operation and how we can be more efficient and how we can raise additional dollars and generate additional revenue. And so all those things are on the table for us. Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for the next 7 to 10 years, but we're up for the challenge. We want to compete at a high level, and we want to continue to have the breadth of programs that we do. Now, just the way the world is, you never know, what could be thrown at you. But at the same token, this is our focus, and we think we can have a great upside here, especially due to the caliber of people who are surrounding our program or who have an interest in our programs.
Bernard, how involved is your president? And just case in point, Kansas State. That's where I graduated, K-State, and just years ago.
Oh, yeah, great place.
Oh, love it. Great place. And then but we were at the bottom of the bottom many years ago when Bill Snyder took over. But John Wheatfield, who just taken over the president's job at K-State, was a huge football fan. Huge. I mean, he was the complete opposite of the former president. So he bought in. He said, whatever you need from me, Coach Snyder, whatever you need, this and that. And to your point, they came to the alumni first and said, we need help, or we're going to move on somewhere else. Is your president that dialed in to support you in whatever way he can, or she?
Well, I am fortunate that I have a president and provost that are really supportive of the mission and where athletics fits into that mission. We just had a new president appointed yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Who won't start till August. So that will be new, and he will. He's right now the dean of our business school, and he will get up to speed really quick on athletic issues, and we'll be sitting in ACC meetings before you know it. But overall, our administration, our board of trustees, our chair of our board, they've all been really supportive of what we're trying to do, and so I'm excited about what lies ahead. They know there's challenges. There's no question about that. We're wrestling with those as we speak, but at the same token, this is core to the mission of the place, and we've had a great history of athletic and academic excellence, and we hope that we trust that will continue.
You get former Washington State head coach Kyle Smith to take over your men's basketball program. What a great hire that was, and it happened quick, didn't it?
We're very excited about that.
Yeah,
it happened within a week's time. It's one of those things you're trying to move as quickly as you can. You're trying to keep your student athletes informed. But we're thrilled that Kyle is with us, and just a great opportunity for us and for him. And we're trying to solidify our roster, if you will. That's a new phenomenon like we were talking about. But at the same token, we think there's a bright side, and especially going to compete in the ACC with the caliber of schools and the history in basketball that they have. This provides a great opportunity for us.
Got a couple more minutes with Stanford Athletic Director Bernard Muir here on Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B. One, I guess, hat you wore back in 2019 as the chair of the selection committee for March Madness in the NCAA tournament. Here you are, you're in town for the tournament. Just talk about that experience you had, and what was probably the most difficult part of that?
I would just say I've was fortunate enough to be on the NCAA staff and was serving the basketball committee then. And I remember committee members always say this is the highlight of their career. And the same goes for me as I look back. It's just so great to be around colleagues who are passionate about the sport, can have some influence in putting together this bracket and selection. And then to see young people again compete at a high level, it's really rewarding. And just the interest in March Madness is just really impressive. And so, I tip my hat to this year's committee and the tournament that they've had. It's really exciting, and can't wait to see the games here in Phoenix.
So Bernard, Rock and I have been doing this for 19 years. So I got to ask you, how many different businesses was Rock running there,
Oh, he would know that.
going way back. And how
He
many?
knew I was a bartender.
Well, okay,
that was it. And I had a great house for parties.
Yeah. So just and how many did he try to get you to invest in the meantime? I'm just curious.
He called himself an entrepreneur then, and I consider him one now. I mean, nothing has changed, and nothing surprises me. I knew he was going to do well from the moment I met him in Athens, and I'm really happy for him as we go along.
So the checks are clearing, aren't they?
So,
yeah, the checks are clearing. I see how it works. Hey,
I'm
Bernard,
really counting on that check.
it's
Counting on that donation to Stanford, but it's okay. It's all
1 minute.
I'll wear the cardinal red. I mean, definitely.
That's exactly what we want. At a minimum, that's what I would expect.
Hey, buddy, thank you for the time, man. I know you're busy. Thanks for giving us a few minutes. I always appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Well, enjoy the weekend, and I hope I run into you.
You will. That's Bernard Muir joining us, Director of Athletics for Stanford, here on Rock and Manooch with Jimmy B. And he comes to us on the Wright Toyota guest line. So appreciate him making some time for us. As he was that guy that, when they had the selection on that Sunday and they're interviewing the chair, that was him just a few years ago. He played at Brown.
Oh, did okay.
Yeah, he played basketball at Brown. So big time athlete. He was at Georgetown, Notre Dame. He's had some pretty big stops. He's the kind of background that I hope whoever ends up the new athletic director at Arizona State has that type of background. That has kind of done a lot of different things. He's been in big schools, small schools. He was at University of Delaware. Georgetown's not the biggest school, but then he was also spent some time at Notre Dame, and then here he is since 2012. I think there's 3 or 4 schools that you want to be the AD. Stanford, they got the most national championships, right? You got the smart kids going there and the athletics, the athletes. I think Notre Dame is the job. Mm-hmm. I think Texas is one. I think Alabama is the other, and maybe a Florida school.
Sure.
But, there's probably 5 really big-time jobs, and I think he's got one of them.
How about Ohio State?
Yeah, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Gene Smith just retiring from there. But anyway, appreciate him joining us. Again, join us tomorrow. We'll be out at Talkie Stick Resort for our finals weekend.